Okay, so we're recording and I'm going to go live on Facebook. That usually takes us a couple of moments. Kind of annoying because when we do the live on Facebook thing, I have to fiddle around with it. So I'm going to share on my page, Radiant Astrology. And I'll just welcome everyone to today, which is day 3 of our 4-part series on Go Pro with your spiritual gifts. Day 1, we spoke all about why the world needs your gifts now. I think we can all sense that we are in, oops, there we go. That we are in a very pivotal time in humanity, and our spiritual gifts are much needed. And, you know, it's a really ancient practice that people live along the lines of right livelihood, right? And that is so important for us. I think, you know, my personal theory is ever since the days of the Industrial Revolution, we thought we had to have a job we hated, you know, or we had to have a job where we were just outputting constantly, you know, like a robot or like a machine. Well, now we actually have the opportunity, not only the opportunity and the luxury to do things we love and that are meaningful, but we actually kind of have a duty. We have a sacred duty to take that on. So I'm just going to check in and make sure that we are live on Facebook before I really launch into our welcome today. Just give it a moment. And if you haven't already, make sure that you have your PDF where you can follow along with today's lesson. Okay, it looks like we are live on Facebook. So just once again, I want to welcome everyone to day 3 of our 4-part series, Go Pro with Your Spiritual Gifts, with my very special guest, the Reverend Erin Ashley Carty. Hi, Erin Ashley.
Hi, Christina. Good to be here.
Great to see you again. It was just yesterday when we had that really awesome, juicy
Yes.
session on Half Booked Fully Paid. So if you haven't checked that out yet, definitely make sure you look at day 2, because that was a really great, really sort of eye-opening session on what you should be charging if you are doing spiritual work. And it was a lot of fun. And so today we're going to be moving on to the 4 phases of going pro. You know, it's really important to have a step-by-step plan of how you can actually go from, you know, just being someone with all these spiritual gifts that you've been honing, whether it's astrology or tarot or, you know, psychic, intuitive. It can take a while to really get good at these gifts. And then there's a point where you are ready, probably more than ready, to go public with it. And, you know, that can be really scary. And that is why Erin Ashley Carty, that is what she specializes in, getting people to share their gifts, to follow their calling. Because let's face it, when we're really intuitive and sensitive, that in itself can be a block from sharing yourself. So we're going to be diving deep in that today. Make sure you have your PDF open if you can, and you can download that at bit.ly/GoProSpirit. I'll have the link in the comments on Facebook if you don't have that already. And before we get into the lesson, I just want to make sure those of you who are on Instagram know that we are running an Instagram contest, and it ends tomorrow. Well, tomorrow we'll be announcing the winners, so you want to jump on that. We're giving away 3 of Erin Ashley Carty's Spiritual Mechanic courses. They're valued at $97. Actually, I think the value is way more than $97, but they retail for $97. And it really takes you into sharpening your intuition through, how many videos is it?
25 videos, and I believe 8 meditations. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think even for $97, it's a steal, but for free, it's an even better steal. So make sure you visit us on Instagram at Radiant Astro or at Rev Kirti, and you'll get all the details there. I'll also put that in the comments. You don't want to miss that. And Aaron Ashley has a special gift for our finale, our grand finale master class
Yes.
tomorrow. So I'll let you take that over, Aaron Ashley.
Thank you, Christina. I'm really excited about this. I'm actually going to be giving away the Spiritual Mechanic Foundations course. I didn't know at the beginning of this year that I was going to create this course, but it is basically everything you need to have a really grounded and fairly complete metaphysical training, right? So we cover everything from Psychic 101, basically what are your spiritual gifts, understanding that. If you're an empath, we have Empath 101. It's so important if you are an empath to understand your empathic gifts. We've got reincarnation, an entire course on reincarnation in there, and as well as 9 other courses in it. I'm currently selling it at $500. The price will likely go up in the future because it's 12 complete courses in one. And we have one course being released every month through the end of November. So at November, we release the last one, but it includes everything from Psychic 101 to the basics of what you need in order to do a good energy healing session for someone else. So I take you from that beginning space all the way to the end. And in order to win this and get it at no cost to you, what you want to do, we've already talked about the play sheet quite a bit over the last few days. You want to send me either your filled in play sheet emailed to me at ea@spiritualmechanic.com, or you can simply answer the questions in the email and send it to me. You can copy paste. That's just fine too. And tomorrow, it needs to be done by 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. That's an hour before our live training, because I will be preparing for the live training. So I'm not going to be trying to review people's answers the hour before, right? I'm going to be doing the internal work, making sure everything is where it needs to be. But 10 a.m. tomorrow is whenever I need to have those in my inbox. And I will choose one to get the full Spiritual Mechanic Foundations course at no cost to you.
That is a $500 course that fully takes you on, really embodying and mastering your spiritual gifts, your intuition, and all of that jazz. And just for completing the PDF, the 4-page PDF. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yes.
if I might do it myself because I want that. That's pretty awesome.
Yes. And if you also send it to me, regardless of whether you're the winner of that particular thing, I will also give you the PDF, basically the playbook about how to start your spiritual business. It's I think a 20-page PDF. It has 13 steps and it goes through all 4 phases. We haven't explained the 4 phases yet, so don't worry if you don't know what they are. But I will be giving that to everyone who sends me their filled out PDF. That's a bonus for the people who are fully here, who are fully participating. I want to make sure you have everything you need. And also, I know that you're going to love the Pro Psychic Mechanics online course that we're going to introduce tomorrow in earnest. But I do want you to make sure that you have everything that you need if you are fully showing up, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to honor you when you do the work, that internal exploration process, and then sharing it with us so that we can create energetic space for you.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Aaron Ashley. And yes, Daniela said that is incredibly generous. It is very incredibly generous. Aaron Ashley has just the most quality content for this type of work. And you can learn at your own pace for the video courses. And it's just always there as your spiritual library, for all things. That it really help you to, as I said, sharpen your intuition. So with that, just remember tomorrow is the master class. That class will go on for probably about 90 minutes. We really want to wrap everything up from the week and we'll be announcing our winners from our bonuses. So you'll want to join that. So for today, the topic is the 4 phases of going pro with your spiritual gifts. And so, Erin Ashley, you can just take that away.
All right, excellent, Christina. And let me know anytime you want to jump in with thoughts and insights, because I know you're going to have some great thoughts and insights here. All right, so the 4 phases of going pro. I started identifying this whenever I was first working with myself. I kept finding myself feeling really confused about what I was supposed to do in what order whenever I was trying to get my business off the ground. And I made a lot of mistakes. I learned the hard way. We're trying to prevent that for you. And I also, whenever I started working with people one-on-one, building their businesses and working with their gifts, I started noticing that there was a simpler way to do things, and then there was also a more complicated, a harder way to do things. And so the 4 phases, when done in order, allow you to set up your spiritual business in a way that honors your gifts, honors you as a person, and really, really, really honors your energy. It decreases overwhelm, increases results, and helps you feel at peace with your work. So phase 1 is foundations. In the foundations phase, you are working to cultivate your spiritual gifts to the point where you know you want to go pro, and you are working to get your basics in order. So if you're wanting to be an astrologer, you're learning how to read charts. You are making sure that you know how to read everything that you need to read there. If you want to do psychic work, then you want to know how to connect with the guides or people's energy in a good, healthy way. If you're a Reiki practitioner or an energy healer, you're learning how to do that work, right? Like that's the basics, that's the foundations, that's phase 1. Phase 2, and this surprises people, is systems and technology. Everyone expects me, you'll see in phase 3, why people think this is do things out of order, but you want to get your system set up early, because especially as you're starting to do this work, having good systems creates a sacred container for you to do this work. That way, your only focus is on delivering your sessions, and it is on doing appropriate follow-up, but you already have the systems to make that easy. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then phase 3 is practice, right? And getting testimonials. Now, everyone usually is like, what do you mean, EA? Why are you having us do our systems before we start getting practice readings or energy healings? Why are we doing it this way? And here's why. Whenever you are reaching out to get your practice people, right? Your sitters who are going to be receiving work from you, you want to make sure that you have as much space as possible. Number 1, to deal with anxiety. You're probably going to feel anxious and insecure about some of this. That's normal. It's normal. You're stepping into a new role. And so it's normal to feel a little bit insecure or to have some anxieties. If you have every system in place, if you have your calendar in place, you have your email organized, and you know exactly when you're going to be sending your follow-up emails, your reminder emails, and you have, for instance, a calendar system that sends them out automatically, all you need to do is show up for your people, send the email afterwards saying, could I please have a testimonial? And if you have it set up properly, you will have the ability to receive that testimonial with ease. So all you have to do is focus on your practice sessions and getting testimonials. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, if you have never done any spiritual work professionally before, you need to have 50 practice sessions under your belt before you start trying to charge in earnest. And it's not because your gift is somehow out of balance whenever you're getting started. It's because you want to see how your unique magic works with other people. Whenever you're in the practice phase, you're going to be looking at things such as who are you working best with? Whenever you work with them, it lights you up. It makes you feel so open and alive. Whenever you're following up with them, it makes you feel really good about yourself and your gifts. Those are the breadcrumbs letting you know that that person's energy is a really good fit for you and your gifts. Then you're likely going to find some people that trying to work with them feels like you're stuck in mud. And sometimes it's someone who's just resistant to healing or the work itself. But a lot of times it's just an energetic mismatch. They might actually want the healing, but you're not the ideal person to heal them. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because they have someone else who will heal them in a wonderful way, and they aren't the perfect energetic match for you. So as you're doing your 50 practice sessions, you are looking for who do you match with, who do you feel really, really resonant with, and you also want to be asking for testimonials. And that's usually the scariest part for people, because they're like, oh no, they're going to give me feedback and it's going to be so intimidating. And it's really not. Most people who do this find that within the first couple sessions, they're getting really powerful testimonials. And by the 10th session, you will definitely have a positive testimonial.
And I want to just put a little thing here that, you know, I've taken a little something from you, Erin Ashley, that when you ask for testimonials, you actually have a specific way of asking for them, you know, just really asking people to be authentic and kind. And, you know, I think that's really important, especially when you're first starting out. But I think I'm a seasoned professional and I still ask people to please be kind in their feedback.
Yes, thank you, Christina. And that's something that's in the PDF. So again, fill out the play sheet, send it to me in order to get the PDF. I actually have the scripts that I recommend my clients use in order to get kind, compassionate feedback for their practice sessions. Literally copy paste, edit the words to make it sound like you, but copy paste ready. And that goes to the technology phase, right? Whenever we're getting the system set up in phase 2, you are making sure that you have a way to communicate with your people. Usually I recommend MailChimp for the newbies. It's free, and you can always upgrade to a paid account or a different email provider later. That's okay. I recommend having a way for people to schedule with you. I use Calendly. I usually recommend other people use Calendly because it's so easy to use. It integrates with all of the payment methods that you will need down the line. And join us live. So, okay, great. We are now live on Facebook. Is that you?
Okay, what was that? Okay, sorry.
Founder of
okay, that must be your computer. I don't know.
How is that mine? All right, I closed it, so I don't know where it came from.
Sorry, that was weird.
That's okay. I think it was mine. I don't know how that happened. I didn't click anything. We're in the shadow phase, right, of Mercury?
Yes. The whole time Mercury's in Neptune, we're going to have voices, disembodied voices. That's Mercury.
Yes, it's so interesting hearing my voice.
I mean, Mercury Pisces. Hello.
All right. So again, in phase 2, you really are getting everything organized, including what you want it to look like. Whenever someone first hears about you, how do they get a free session with you? Are you reaching out on Facebook groups? Are you asking friends and family? Are you asking for referrals? And then what are you going to email them first, etc.? You want to think through that entire process. So phase 3 is practice, and phase 4 is whenever you're actually charging for your services. Now, if you joined us yesterday, then you should already know your beginning price, right? You should have that down. And if not, definitely listen to the replay and use the calculator to find out how much you should be charging to begin with. Yes.
We want to also hear from our audience. Those of you that are watching live, let us know, what phase of your business are you in? What do you want to go through the phases again, Sully?
Yes. Phase 1 is foundations. If you're in the foundations phase, you know that you're called to this work, but you haven't really honed your craft at all yet. You haven't taken very many or any classes on it, and you're just kind of feeling the waters, which is great. It's a great phase to be in. Phase 2 is systems. Some people, this is the phase most people skip, and they try to go to phase 3 or phase 4 and launch before they get their systems, and then they get overwhelmed. So phase 2 is systems. Phase 3 is the phase of getting practice readings and your testimonials. You want to make sure that you have done 50 practice sessions, and you have 10 testimonials that you have permission to use in your business before you move on to the launching phase. So you want to have 50 practice sessions, 10 testimonials. And then the launching phase is where you have everything set up, and you actually announce to people, hey, I've opened up shop. Here is where you can get a session with me. This is the session. This is the price.
So
right?
you are a pro at that point. You're going pro.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So we
The
have, let's see, we've got in the chat, we got Danielle says she's phase one. She said also in phase 2 and 3, actively giving practice sessions have set up my Calendly scheduler.
That's
That's
good.
great. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And Katrina says she's in phase 1 and 3. And
yeah.
I also did that too. Like I think when I was first doing astrology, there wasn't Calendly yet, maybe or something. And
Yeah.
but I love what you recommend by, it's like putting all your systems in place first, because once you have a paying client, that entire experience from the moment they commit to a session with you till they pay, whether you have, I recommend them paying up front, but however it flows for you, the moment they commit to the session, the moment they show up, how anything they get from you preparing for the session, then the session itself, then closing the session, that whole experience is, they're experiencing you. So if you have to keep going back and forth for a time and a date, and the date and time is all screwed up, and that kind of colors that experience. So if you already have a scheduler set up like Calendly or something to get people in there now, Calendly is great because I know a lot of some astrologers like to cast the chart for the moment the reading takes place. I honestly don't recommend doing that. That wastes so much time, and that is also not trusting the universe to deliver, the perfect time and synchronicity for that session. That's my personal that's what I believe. And plus, the people that come through, when they come through, it's always perfect. Now, what I do is I close off eclipse dates, or, even new moons and full moons sometimes, if I feel like I don't want to be working on them, because those are actually sacred moments of self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
But however you want to balance your days, having a scheduler that's really important. So when you can have all these like systems set up, and then when you're ready to take people on, then it flows. That's just going to make you look like a professional from the start.
Yes, yes, and that's so important. And you mentioned something really important, Christina, and that's how much time and energy it takes to do this manually. And this is where I'm going to shine the light on one of my PPM grads, Pro Psychic Mechanics grads, Rachel. And when she came to me, she already had all the training she needed. She thought she was in the launching phase, right? She thought she was in phase 4, but for whatever reason, she could not get traction. So I had her start over at phase 2, right? I had her start at phase 2, and she set up all of her systems. And then she went to her phase 3. She actually did and redid some testimonials. She did enough sessions to get 10 new testimonials, which that was her decision. I told her if she had 10, she could do whatever she wanted, but she wanted to get 10 new testimonials. And then she started charging, and she was able to basically make 3 times the cost of the course back in about 2 months, right? And it's because she started with phase 2, right? She started with phase 2. And we're not opening the doors yet, but I want to talk about that because I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat box about how people are in phase 4, but they haven't finished phase 2. And I'm going to be really honest with you, and this is coming from love. If you have not finished phase 2 yet, you are not ready for phase 4. And it's okay to take some time. It can be done in 24 to 48 hours. It doesn't have to take a lot of time to set up your phase 2 piece. And I also really want you to make sure that you have 10 testimonials that you have permission to use before you dedicate yourself to phase 4 and launching. Because if you launch too soon with too few testimonials, you'll spend a lot of energy trying to get people to basically know who you are, to get to understand the value of your gift. If you have 10 testimonials, it becomes a lot easier to launch your business and get people paying straight out of the gate, right? And again, the phase system the systems phase, I mixed up those 2 words. The systems phase does not have to take a lot of time. It does require that you sit down and figure out all of the pieces. So it takes a lot of mental effort, some strategic thinking. And again, I've saved you a lot of that excess work. I've already figured this out. I know exactly what it should look like. Make sure to fill out your play sheet and send it to me so I can give you the 13 steps with all the scripts, right? That's why I have that. Okay,
That's
great.
awesome. I wanted to just point out in the chat box here on Zoom, is it Zana says, I'm in the launch phase, business is going, but need to review my charges. And I
Oh,
think every year, it's great to be reviewing how much you're charging,
yep,
and how that works with this work-life balance.
absolutely. And I really like that because especially Xana, and let us know if we're pronouncing your name correctly too, please. You want to make sure that you use the calculator from yesterday, and then also make sure you're looking at the results you're getting for people. You want to be increasing your prices somewhat regularly, once or twice a year, so long as you're getting people really good results and you're feeling good about the work you're doing, and you can do that pretty consistently, right? So that's just something to keep in mind.
And we've also got from, I think it's Cinia. I'm in phase 4, but the phase 2 part, I have skipped. I'm working on that piece right now. And I think that's normal. A lot of times people kind of skip it, but you know what, when you don't have, and I feel like, I set time off every month. I should probably be doing it every week to work on systems, because the more, and especially the bigger you get, the more important systems play a role in your
Yes.
ability to help people and work efficiently.
Yes, yes. Completely agree, because the difference in doing this work whenever it's basically a few dozen people and your friends and family know that you do the work, and hundreds or even thousands of people who you don't know personally who know that you do the work. Like, for instance, on YouTube at this point, I have almost 11,000 YouTube subscribers. My YouTube channel's been viewed, I think, 750,000 times at this point. It's a completely different energy than in 2011 when I started. And I was just, talking to a couple people that I kind of knew. And I was teaching a couple things in person in Las Vegas because that's where I lived at the time. It's a completely different energetic game. And the more you do this work, the more you want systems in place. But starting with systems gets you really, really, really good container for your work. Okay.
And then we've also got, let's see, is it Veronica? Totally agree with preparing ahead. We manifest from what we believe first rather than our desires. So yeah, I had read at one point, it was when you get the system for people, it's like a container and you're enabling them to pay you. You're making it easy for them. It's not anything about smarmy marketing or doing anything like, to, I don't know, when we're in the non-woo-woo world, a lot of times we think, oh my God, I'm like totally like becoming some, business person, which is fine. There's part of you that needs to be working on the business, but ultimately it's just making it that much easier for the people who want to support you and want your services to pay you and to book the sessions. Anything you can make it easy for them, make it that easy button, they will appreciate.
Yes. Yes, people generally do not want to have to search to find out how to work with you. They prefer to know right away what that looks like and how to do it. And most people do enjoy knowing the price up front. I do want to circle back. Christina, you mentioned this a few minutes ago, and I want to echo it. In general, I recommend getting paid ahead. Whenever someone goes through my system, they pay whenever they decide what time they want the session. And so it's all set up in the same thing. So they click the button to book now, they go to a calendar, they click the date, and whenever it's time to confirm, they put in their payment details, and that's how they actually reserve the spot. Now, Xana asked a question. She came a little late. What's the play sheet, and what are we supposed to send to get the template for the systems? So Xana, go ahead, and if you have signed up for the series, then you should have a link to the download page, And the download page has all of the replays available, and it has all of the it has the play sheet on it. And you just download the play sheet. There's a couple of questions for each day, and just fill it out and then email it back to me at ea@spiritualmechanic.com. If you got the reminder emails, which it looks like you did because you're here, then you should be able to do that. Okay, great. She's got it. Thank you, Christina. Christina just put the link in the comments on Zoom. Okay, so wonderful. All right, let's see here. I've talked about foundation, systems, practice. Let's talk launching. Because usually what happens is people go through the practice sessions, and then there's this hesitancy in between the practice sessions and the launching, because it does require you to fully own your worth, what we talked about yesterday, to fully own your calling, and then actually ask for money for your services. And the way I generally recommend people do this is via an email launch. I teach mostly online business, right? Online spiritual business. Some people can adapt this to in-person practices, but I teach almost primarily online because that's what I've been doing for 7 of the 8 years. And so that's what I know best. And so there's nothing wrong with in-person practices, but I focus almost primarily on the online aspect. And so with launching, the first thing you want to do is really focus on shoring up your confidence, right? Because if you have the price, you know how much you should be charging. And if you have your basic sales page, you know, this is the service, this is what it gets you, this is what it's going to do for you, along with testimonials. And then you have your book button at the bottom. Once they click that, you want to make sure that you feel good about every piece of it so that you can, whenever you're launching it, just really stay present and envision those people coming to you and feeling good about it, right? Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. And Christina, do you have anything to add on that?
Sorry, I was just replying to someone in the comments on Facebook. And you had said, well, I was looking at Xana's comment. She'd said she feels great about the work, getting good feedback,
Yep.
but can't get traction. So to me, she is ready to be in the launch phase where you have to, you know, really be confident about sharing your offerings. And, you know, like you were saying, it could just be through email. You know, we don't have to always go through like this huge launch and make, you know, like all these videos or be really super public with it. When people have already given you their email address, they're a warm contact. They have already given you permission to contact them. So they're, you know, they're saying they want to hear from you.
Yes, exactly. And so you really want to, whenever you're going through the launching phase, you also want to start thinking about your marketing strategy. And I realize it's really interesting in the spiritual community. And I, because of how so many other people have treated marketing, they've abused it, used it as a way to beat people up or try to pull one over on other people. However, in the spiritual community, you can still market from the heart. This is all about clearly communicating what it is you do, who you do it for, and the results that they can expect, and as well as your prices, right? Like you want to put that in there too. So you want to talk about what you do, who it's for, what results they can expect, and how do they get it, including the price. So that's 4 things. And that is all you need to do. However, you also need to focus on demonstrating it. So Xana, especially if you're getting good results for people, make sure that you're asking if you can use people for case studies. If they're getting really good results with you, ask if you can use them as a case study so people will have an idea of what they can expect whenever they work with you.
Can you give a little idea of what a case study is and maybe how it's different from a testimonial? Because people, just in case people don't know these terms.
Yes, good point, Christina. So a case study is where you're doing an in-depth dive into basically someone's personal experience in working with you. It's generally going to be either a video that's a few minutes long, or it's going to be a longer email, 4 or 5 paragraphs, right? Where you're going into detail about what hesitations they had, what the transformations were like, and you're going to include a lot of the personal testimony. What happened for them? What was their personal experience? What was their journey? You're going to highlight their entire journey with you. And the other thing that you want to do is with testimonials, every time you do a session for someone, you want to ask for a testimonial every single time. Whenever you send them whatever you're doing in follow-up, thank you so much for choosing me to read for you. It's such an honor and a pleasure to do this work. If you really loved this session, would you mind giving me a testimonial? This allows me to build my business and find other people who will benefit, who are like you. And if you make it kind and honest, what happens is a lot of people will give you honest feedback, right? Like the really good, kind testimonials that you're looking for. A testimonial is usually short. It's usually 2 or 3 sentences. And it's just like, oh, wow, I found EA because actually, let me pull one up because I have pages and pages of this. So I'm actually going to pull one up and I'm going to read you a testimonial that I asked for this year, right? Because I have this automated. I use my systems so that every time I send people their information,
And
they
can I
are,
say that I use Google Forms, which is
yeah,
free. So Google Forms will automatically, send someone an email after. Well, I have it. Oh, I have it integrated with Acuity, but basically you can and store everything in a spreadsheet. And it's free and easy. So actually, you can run a whole business for practically for free using
really,
Google Docs and Google Forms.
yes, and you can use Google Forms in the PDF that you will get when you send me your filled out forms. You will have Typeform is what I generally recommend. It's free for the first one, and then it costs money if you have more than one or you go really in depth. But I also have exactly how to set that up in the PDF that I'll give you once you send me your play sheet, your filled out play sheet. And so I'm going to read one that I got, I think, just a couple of weeks ago. So let me get this up here. And, okay, come on. My computer is being just a little bit slow because I'm asking it to do this while we have this live call. So let me just, okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. I would absolutely, no, that one was from last year. Okay, great. I've never had a reading prior to this, but my intuition kept telling me go for it, and I'm so glad I did. I have told several friends and quite a few strangers on the internet about your work. My biggest insight I got was the confirmation that my intuition was leading me was correct, and that my interpretations of my guide's messages was mostly correct. I was feeling uncertain before that, and I was having a really stressful day before the reading. I hadn't slept the night before, and you set me at ease. You're really comfortable to talk with, and I really resonate with your energy in general. So that is from Matt, and he sent me that in January. And the reason I have that, along with, I have no idea, this particular document has 11 pages, and I started it last year. I don't know how many testimonials I have, but it's because I ask for them after every single session, and you want to do the same thing. Because it also shows people that there's movement. Every time they see a new testimonial, it lets them know that you are still doing this work and that you're still present.
I wanted to share that, due to the nature of some of the work that I have, which is, with my astrology sessions, sometimes people don't want to share, or they don't want their name associated with it, just because there can be very sensitive material that they go through, because, people can open up and talk to me about anything. And so what's great about having it automated is because you're going to get some people likely that either they just don't feel comfortable sharing because, nobody in their life knows that they're into woo-woo, and that's fine. Like some people just aren't ready to go there. Or other people don't want their photo and their name. And, that makes the testimonial to me seem, it's a little less strong. I mean, you usually want someone's name there and, as public as they can be. But it's really important to just continually ask everyone, because that way, you can get new testimonials, and testimonials are like a free, like free advertising basically. And when people are, it's one thing for me to say I'm the best astrologer in the world. It's a totally other thing for somebody else to say that about me, and to say, some very specific things that they took away from the session. So I just want to also, put it out there that, sometimes because of the nature of our work, people might not want to be public with the fact that they are going to an astrologer or a psychic. But, you can still use the testimonial itself if they're okay with their identity being private. But also you want to recognize and honor those times when people aren't open to it. So that's why you make sure you ask every single time, because then you'll still continue to build up those testimonials.
Yes, exactly. And you will have bad days as you do this work. There will be a session that just feels off to you in some way. If you do a couple thousand sessions, you're going to have one or two that don't quite feel right, for some reason. Maybe you have a bad day. Maybe someone's just really resistant to receiving the work, or maybe someone said something mean to you on the internet. It doesn't happen very often, but if it does happen, having those testimonials, especially in a central place where you can read through them, does wonders for helping you to remind yourself about the value of the work that you are providing for other people and the world. And most of us who are called to this work, we are sensitive souls. And so we take everything to heart. And it's really easy for us to take criticism, especially the unfounded criticism, too much to heart. So you really want to keep those testimonials close to you as you're doing this work, regardless of what phase you're in. The second that you're doing something and asking or giving someone a session, whether it's free or paid, ask for feedback, ask for the testimonial, because that will help you keep in mind what you're giving people and the value of your work. Makes it easier to charge as well for yourself.
And I just wanted to let you know, Erin, actually, we are at the 40-minute mark.
Okay, great.
So if we want
Yes.
to start to wrap it up, I think we went really in depth today. Again, this is the 4 phases of going pro. And Erin actually has expanded this into 13 steps. And would you tell us a little bit more about that offering?
Yeah. So the 13 steps include everything from basically your foundations phase, exploring and deciding what you want to do, as well as exactly which technology pieces I recommend, along with screenshots of what it will look like ideally, whenever you're done. It includes the actual scripts that you need for the systems phase, as well as your launching phase. So this is a really, really, really rich resource. You definitely want to email me. And I got a really good question. Is it Aditi? Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And yes, I'm looking for day 4 as well by 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, because I want to have all of that so I can announce the winner live on the call that we have tomorrow.
And just so you know that I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the day 4 on the PDF, it does ask you about the calling the souls to you ceremony. So that you might
the calling souls to you.
It's going a little ahead. The last 2 questions. So
yes, we decided to do this last minute.
Yeah, so we really want you can explore the 4th page, the first 2 questions maybe, but really we want some really in-depth answers for days 1 through 3.
Yeah, 1 through 3, and let me know what phase you're in for sure. If it's the calling souls to you ceremony questions, if you skip it, I'm not going to hold it against you. But if you can feel into it and feel the energy of calling someone to you or the souls that are appropriate for you, absolutely do that. It's okay. It's better to get it done messy than it is for it to be perfect. We talked about that on day 1. And I want to encourage you to do it messy over perfect now too.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Great. And so, they have your email address, right? Like when they
Yes.
signed up
Yes.
for okay, so they can email you their PDFs completed, and they have a chance to win that $500 value course of or no, sorry, it's the Pro Psychic Mechanics course.
Yes. The $500 course is the Spiritual Mechanic Foundations course. And
Spiritual Mechanics Foundation, sorry. It's
it's
the
okay. There's mechanics in all of my names, and so it's confusing.
Okay, so thank you so much, Erin Ashley. We'll have this recording up on YouTube later, and also you'll be emailed the recording if you're on our list. So make sure you're signed up for that list at bit.ly/GoProSpirit. Don't forget to check Instagram at Radiant Astro for the giveaway. We have another giveaway there. So we're giving away, Erin Ashley's giving away over like $800 worth of prizes that
Yes.
you have a chance to win. So 3 of the $97 spiritual mechanic courses, and then the $500 Big Kahuna, Big Enchilada prize that she's giving away tomorrow. So for tomorrow, join us here at the same place, same time at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow is our master class. We'll be doing a ceremony on calling the souls to you. This is something that synchronistically both Erin, Ashley, and myself do for our major programs. And it works like magic. Every time I do my eclipse circles, me and my team, we do an invitation to the souls. And it's amazing because when my last course, I asked people in their surveys, what made you join this course? And, just about all of them said, my soul heard the calling, or my intuition just said it's a big yes, and that was their souls hearing the calling that this was the right space for them. This was the right program for them. And so you want to tell us what else they can expect for the masterclass tomorrow, Erin Ashley?
Yes, we are also going to talk about the anatomy of a good psychic reading. We're going to go just a little bit before the ceremony. I'm going to lay out the steps, what you should be doing before the session, what you should be doing during the session, what you should be doing after the session. So if your gift that you're feeling called to isn't necessarily the psychic part, the beginning and the end is still going to be really important, but the middle might change depending on what you're called to do, right? So we're going to be talking about some energetic things that you can do to stay really strong within yourself and to feel really good with yourself, so you're not getting in overwhelm or getting burnt out with the work that you're doing.
Yes, and tomorrow, really, if you can, if you're not at work or something like that when we're having the live session, create a ceremonial space in your space, even if it's just lighting a candle, or saging the space if you can. Saging is great because that really helps to, clear the energy, or just having your favorite crystals with you, because we really want this to be an actual, experience for you to really feel, because, there's only so much you can do to be bombarding people with selling at them. What ultimately, if you're doing this type of any kind of work where you're using, where it's actually from the soul, you want it to be a soul to soul connection. And that's when that you get right fit clients with this type of work.
That's so beautiful. And yeah, I agree. We'll be doing our own work to attune and create the ceremony with and for you. So definitely come and join to really dive deep and feel the energies of those who are called to you.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much, Erin Ashley. And that's it for today. Don't forget to fill out your PDFs and send them to Erin Ashley if you want to be entered into the giveaway. And other than that, we will see you here tomorrow for our special master class on calling the souls to you. It's my favorite part of this work, and I hope you'll join us. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.